Happy Halloween, everybody. Media Tsunami back with another Halloween episode where we're going to discuss some of our favorite movies. Today we're going to be doing paranormal type movies, so all the ones that involve spirits or ghosts and things like that.
Like that guy?
Who? So we'll go along that network, that line of thought. So how about Holly? Why don't you kick us off here with this list?
Okay, there's this movie out there, it's called Darkness Falls, and it is about the Tooth Fairy, basically. Yeah. John is laughing because the very first time that I ever attempted to watch the movie, and I say attempted because, we got, 5 minutes in, and I was like, I can't watch this! I have to drive home in the dark!
You got further than that, because you got to, the wood scene, right after the bar. Mm-hmm. Whatever the bar ends. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. So that's more than 5 minutes. I'll give you more credit than that.
Okay.
Of course, it was all watched like this.
Well, yeah, exactly. I love a scary movie, but again, I watch them through my fingers, or behind a pillow. But it was the first time John he was like, hey, Holly, Jenny and I are dating. You should come over and hang out with us. And I was like, okay, cool. Because I went to high school with Jennifer, but we didn't know each other well. So, but John and I have known each other forever, and we're good buds. So I went to hang out, and he was like, yeah, we're gonna watch this movie. It's called Darkness Falls. I'm like, yeah, sure. I like a good scary movie. Why not? I did not anticipate having such a freak out attack about that movie, but it genuinely freaked me out because I lived in the country at the time, and the whole premise of the movie is that the Tooth Fairy, she can't be in the light, or the light scares her away, or whatever.
It burns her.
Or burns her, and but she loves the darkness. So if it's dark, then it's great. So it's kind of a play on words because the town is called Darkness Falls, and then darkness actually falls, and Tooth Fairy runs amok and kills people. Yeah. It's crazy. So I had to go home in the dark after having attempted to watch this movie in the first place. I did eventually go back and watch it in broad daylight, all the windows open,
so she couldn't get you.
Yeah, so she couldn't get me. But this isn't just you think Tooth Fairy and you think cute little thing with a pink fluffy tutu and a magic wand. Yeah, the Rock, right? But no, this is terrifying. She was a witch, and she's gruesome and ugly, and she's floaty, and
it's Freddy Krueger and the chick from The Ring's love child kind of mixed in. It's weird.
Yeah, with a little bit of that Ghost of Christmas Present? Past.
Future. Okay.
Future.
New. Okay. I'm gonna do a little side here. Muppet Christmas Carol. Watch it. It's great. The Ghost of Christmas Past is the creepiest thing I've ever seen in a movie because she's just this little floating child doll thing, and she's just
they filmed her in the water. That's why she's so freaky.
Yeah. But Mr. Death has nothing on that.
Anyways, Tooth Fairy is like this, and it genuinely freaked me out. I will say that I slept with my light on. I've never had a movie affect me like that until Darkness Falls. I slept with my light on for 3 days after I went home from your house. It was bad. In movies usually I'm we're good. They don't bother me, but it's after the fact. But I literally had to sleep with my lights on.
that was I quite enjoy that movie too, and it seems like paranormal movies are really hitting their stride now. There are a few kind of in the 80s, early 90s-ish, but it seems like they're really alongside zombies, kind of what they're hitting now with Paranormal Activity, movies like that. But that one I particularly liked, but really one of the few good ones that I think I've seen in the past 5 or so years was Insidious, the first one. I haven't seen any of the other ones. We actually have a little funny story. Scotty and I, he had seen it. First time I ever watched it was with these two guys at John's house, and we were watching, there's a scene where the main chick is walking through her house and picking up laundry or something, and she just walks through the house, and
that's when the tiptoe,
the creepiest song ever. Yeah, it's creepy. She walks through the house, and then she turns around and sees this little kid sitting in her house running, dancing. Yeah, dancing, and he's But I don't know what he He's sweating to the oldies. I don't know. Yeah. But
Billy Blanks, Richard Simmons.
Yeah, Richard Simmons. Yeah, there you go.
But and then he like runs off and disappears. And John's like, "Hey, did you catch that?" And Skyler are like, "Well, yeah, dancing kid,
dancing in the background."
And he's like, "No." So he rewinds it, and we're watching, like paying attention. And as she's walking through the house, like immediately Skyler and I were both like, "Ooh!" like she walks through, and you see this kid like standing next to her. He's like,
"It's not a kid. It's a short man."
Yeah,
it's not a kid. It's not a kid at all.
It's
like a little.
Yeah,
a little man.
But anyway, he's just like standing in the corner, like if you like one of those blink and you'll miss it kind of moments. He like reaches over and grabs something right next to him. And we're both like, he's there.
It's terrifying.
It is terrifying,
especially when you pause it, because he's like staring at the camera.
He's like
he's facing the other way. You still see the back.
He's facing.
That's why we didn't see him, because he looks like a coat hanging up.
That's right. That's right. Okay, I thought he was facing the camera.
Yeah, no, he's having a hardcore staring contest with that corner.
And you're just like, that is the creepiest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Like I was about to be gone. I was like, I'd already seen the movie, and I was gone when you said that.
And that's still only like I pride myself on not getting jump scared very easily. There's one of you guys is probably gonna be like, "Oh yeah," so I was like on my way. I was on my way to the pusher yourself. I was like, "Oh crap, I'm gonna hit him in the face." So, but like for like in most movies, it's kind of cheesy. Like, oh yeah, you can see it coming a mile away, sort of thing. And there's one scene in that movie where like. You guys know which part I'm talking about? Like they're sitting at like a dining room table.
Oh yeah,
and they're talking and like
guy?
Yeah, the lady like that's talking to him just kind of glances over and you see like right over this guy's shoulder, Darth Maul.
Yeah,
like it's like and I was like, it's daytime, you can't do that.
And the music that goes with it too. Like I love the music in that.
It's
They do the high pitched notes very well in that film.
Is it like it must be like sharp notes?
Yeah, it's like really sharp piano notes is what it is. And maybe not even piano, other instruments too.
Probably in a minor chord just to make it that much more fun.
But the way that they did the sounds, I mean, it's been done in movies 1,000 times before, but the way that they did it actually made that movie fairly scary. They use jump scenes in that film actually way better than any movie I've ever seen.
I have one better, but
I was gonna say the only thing that took me out of it for a second in that movie was when they showed Darth Maul's feet like walking, and it was like a person holding cloven hooves, and you could tell it was a person walking with them like this. God, you could have done that better.
just a little side deal. I think. It might have been when we were watching it. We were watching like the special, like how it's made kind of things. And I remember they introduced the kid to the guy playing that, so that he's not scared. I'd be like hamming it up, like I'll shoot after the movie's over. But
you were talking about jump scares, and music that goes along with those. Okay, I'm very sensitive to like any little change in music. I'm like, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? Oh my gosh!
That's why these bruises.
Yeah. People think I abuse them. No, it's because we watch scary movies.
Permanent circulation cut off.
But there's a movie that is called Harrison Ford.
Star Wars.
No, What Lies Beneath. And that movie is so good at not having any music. Like, it has music, like, randomly throughout the movie in the background, but when there's a scary part, or, like, leading, like, maybe a couple minutes before the scary part's gonna happen, they totally cut out all the music. All of the, like, sound effects that you would normally have. It's quiet, like, super quiet. But I remember one scene, Michelle Pfeiffer's in this movie too. She goes into like the study, and she is like cleaning up or doing something, and all of a sudden the stereo just comes on full blast. I jumped out of my skin, like, okay. But that movie, like, the absence of, you start learning throughout the movie that the absence of that tension building music is almost worse than, because they're like, it's too quiet.
It's like 2001: A Space Odyssey. They use the silence to max out the creep factor so well in that movie. And speaking of Stanley Kubrick, one of my favorite of supernatural is I can think Stanley Hotel. Oh, The Shining. The Shining. I don't know why that just. You know what I mean? But like, I love that movie. Just the he is so good at creating atmosphere in his movie. The layout of that hotel that they used, and I know it wasn't exactly what Stephen King had in mind because they didn't actually shoot in the Stanley Hotel for the movie, but it was so many scenes from that movie that are great. Like when he walks into that room with the lady in the bathtub, and of course the classic of the kid on the bike and running into the two twins who they were at this convention.
My thing.
But I didn't get their autographs.
I've been telling Holly this pretty much since we get married. I want to have twin girls just so I can dress them up and have them stand in the door when she walks in, so they go, come and play with this mommy.
I'll be like, go play with her.
Anyway, sorry to interrupt you there.
No, you're good. So that's it. That's all I gotta say. Is The Shining. I love that movie.
Man, that is possibly one of my favorite movies, period, of all time. Definitely my favorite of the Stephen King films, and I mean, it's such an iconic movie. One of my it's been countlessly parodied. No, Josh is gonna jump in on this one too. Like, one of my favorites is the Simpsons episode where they parody it, and the scene in the movie where Shelley Duvall walks in, she sees like on his typewriter and all these papers. This is like all play or all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. And in the Simpsons one, Marge like walks up to the typewriter and you're like, I know what's gonna happen. Like, I've seen this movie before. She just walks up to it and it says feeling fine, and she's like, oh, that's a relief. And then like the lightning flashes and you see like Homer crazy and like all this stuff. But no, just so many iconic moments from that movie, like the elevator with the blood, just kind of random. And the twins is the creepiest part for me, just because you know it's coming. Like, he's rounding all these corners and it just stops, and then like for a split second you see like their bodies just mangled.
I don't know. I like the end of The Shining, like the very last shot of The Shining.
What does it mean?
What does it mean?
What does it mean?
A picture with all these people that
from like
the 40s
years prior, yeah.
Like, what's going on there?
Well, there's like a scene halfway through when he like goes to like the bar area and there's people around, like they're not real or whatever, and he talks to that guy and he basically says, you've always been the caretaker here. And so it's kind of like, what does that mean? Like, is the hotel like so vindictive that it makes him relive this out like every time, or like, I don't know. And it's one of those things where you watch the movie and you're like, oh, okay, that's all well and good, and then like 5 minutes after you watch it, you're like, you think about it, and I tend to overanalyze a lot of things, and it like to this day still bugs the snot out of me. So, but that's genius. Those kind of movies that make you think about it way after. Yeah. And to kind of piggyback off that one, hotel movies in general, one of my favorites that I don't seem to know too many people that have seen this one, 1408 with John Cusack, came out about 5 or 6 years ago, I think, maybe a little bit longer. But the point of the movie is that he's like a ghost writer, like or not in the sense of like I write for someone else, but he like debunks urban legends and things like that. So, but there's a hotel that he goes to stay at, and supposedly this room is haunted, and everybody that stayed in there has ultimately killed themselves. And you see throughout the movie, the room basically takes on its own life. It tries to push him to that point. Like, I don't even think I like describe just how much that movie kind of resonated with me. It's very creepy. And the second main character, Samuel L. Jackson, he has about 10 minutes of screen time, so it's all John Cusack trying to basically survive, like his own mind trying to make him end it. And any of you other guys?
It's a great movie.
It's a great movie.
It's a great film.
So very underrated, very great movie.
Yeah. So if we're going into the paranormal realm here, my favorite paranormal type movie is Poltergeist, the original one. Mm-hmm. I just loved it's Steven Spielberg, and just all the stuff that was done in that film. It actually stuck with me a lot when I was younger.
Steven Spielberg, Tobe Hooper.
Steven Spielberg directed though, didn't he?
Toby Hooper, I thought.
I'm pretty sure it's Steven Spielberg.
The correct answer will be displayed.
It's right up here
Right.
somewhere, you know.
Because I thought it was like the first big budget one that he had after
Spielberg could have produced it.
Yeah, he could. Spielberg was tied into it.
He
somehow.
probably had his hands on it.
So
somehow,
he was
yeah.
tied into it somehow.
Okay.
But anyway, it stuck with me so much as a kid because the house I lived in was like right across the street from a cemetery.
Yeah.
And we had a pool, and so it was like I was like, this is my life.
Built our house on an Indian burial ground.
Okay, not quite, but just the whole idea. It kind of struck home with me a lot. And then and I watched it at a fairly young age too. So I was like always afraid when I'd walk by my closet that I was going to get sucked in, or you'd.
They're here. Okay, sorry.
And I just remember the at the end when everything is just going haywire in the. I can't remember. Is it the mom that falls into the pool? Who is it that falls into the pool? Because it's their.
I think the dad goes.
It's their unbuilt pool. They're like working on it, and they fall in, and that like ghost monster thing that comes out is the creepiest thing. It's just
The cadaver?
I don't. It's like a ghost type thing.
I'm pretty sure it's a dead man in a coffin.
Well, it's been so long since I've seen the movie, but anyway, it terrified me to death when I watched it as a kid.
Was it raining when that happened?
Yes.
And that's
Yeah,
the
it's
cadaver
absolutely
scene.
like
Yes,
just pouring down rain. Anyway,
That could have been
because he falls into the pool
Yeah,
and
it
it's
was
like
wrong.
it's got some water in it and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But it's just terrifying to me, and I just love everything about that film. I still think my favorite part though is probably at the very end when they go to the hotel to stay and they push the TV outside. It's just that always made me laugh. We're like, nope, none of that crap. So anyway, I just love that movie so much. I haven't seen the remake.
It's
it's okay. Probably won't actually get around to watching it, but
You're
the
not-
original one's phenomenal. If you haven't seen it, you should
Yeah,
definitely
sure.
watch it.
Josh, it looks like you've got a couple of movies over there. What you got?
What makes a paranormal movie good is when you see what's haunting or what is crazy.
Yeah.
Darth Maul was a cute one scene. The Twin Ghosts was a good 3-second scene. These movies go into depth, and if one of you want to hold them up, there's more light. And two series. This is a big indie film. Like maybe indie's not the word, but you can see these awards. Big, it's duly noted, it's well done, it's excellent.
What's it called?
End of the Line.
End of the Line.
And it's about this religious group that becomes involved in any dominant religion or faith in the war.
Does for subways what Jaws does for oceans.
Yes. And it's excellent. And another series that is more independent is Grave Encounters.
Mhm.
I've seen that one.
Grave Encounters is superb, and that is within a asylum, and two of them. Another series that none of us mentioned, I would consider Evil Dead, the first two, not the third.
Definitely hits paranormal.
I like
Yeah.
the third too.
And Dead Buds is just a...
This is my boomstick.
The director made this one movie that was exceptional, the rest are terrible, but these movies, at the end of this, everyone that's ever seen Dead Buds,
You made us watch.
no one walked away saying, I understood it. No one gets it. I got it the first time, I understood it. I got for someone else to explain it to me.
The way that you understood it?
Yes, because that's the beauty of it. It's into interpretation, but no one wants to interpret it because it's so surreal. It's so mind-boggling. And End of the Line, it's
Well,
straightforward.
now I'm curious because you think you got it all figured
No,
out.
I don't think. I have my interpretation figured
Oh,
out.
okay, gotcha.
But no one else had wanted to give interpretation. It's that well crafted. His other movies stink.
What is it?
Stink. I don't even. I forgot.
It's a one-hit wonder.
Yeah, it's a one-hit wonder.
That's Ice Ice
But
Baby.
in all the
Yeah.
movies, Evil Dead, Grave Encounters, you encounter the creature, the demon, the spirit for minutes at a time. You get to see it, and that's what makes these movies good to me. Is that Paranormal Activity, you saw footprints. That's boring to me. It's a
Yeah.
great movie, but that's boring. You can do so much more with the actual visualization of the creature itself. At the end of Insidious, when they were in the spirit realm, excellent. I know.
I don't know. I think the absence of the monster or the
Right.
demon or whatever it is that's causing all the ruckus or that's running amok is actually even scarier because I know that my head,
Leave it up to your imagination.
my head can go to the worst case scenario.
You know how to scare yourself.
Oh,
better than
gosh.
The movie implies this thing is so scary that you can't see it. Like it's like nothing is worse than what is there. So.
I mean, a perfect example I think is The Exorcist. Probably hands down the scariest movie I will ever see.
Yeah, if I don't ever watch it, I'll be fine.
I feel all kinds of weird and ooky about that movie. Like I don't even want to talk about it.
See,
It's so
that
weird.
movie might have the scene that sticks with me most from these paranormal type films is the scene when her head is backward. I think it's backward, and she comes down the stairs and it freaks me out so much. She comes down at like twice the speed of a normal person.
Well, I can't go down a staircase.
And
I walk down the stairs like that all the time. I'm getting close. I'm getting pretty close to that speed.
Part. It just makes my hair stand up everywhere if I just even see it in a video or in anything. When I'm watching the film, I flip out when I see that because it's just so creepy. And so that scene sticks with me.
And like there are people that believe that these things actually can happen to a person, and that's kind of scary too. Like things. I feel like things that can actually happen are a lot scarier to me than like a zombie movie or a monster movie or things like that. Like so, like I don't know. I feel like oh my gosh, this could actually happen, and I might be susceptible to any number of slashers and or supernatural things that might happen to me. So it just kind of weirds me out and makes me not want to.
Kind of going along with what you were saying. What makes that movie is the entire focal point is on the entity. Like pretty much every scene, it has the little girl in it, and they're like, "What are we gonna do?" Like and she's doing all this stuff, and you gotta imagine like even just kind of going outside the movie for a second, what kind of like psychological stuff that little actress was going through? Like, I mean, having to do all this stuff, like, there's some really weird scenes in there.
Well,
like,
a lot of
she
it
did
too.
have
She
a
had
double.
well, right, that didn't make it any better, but but I mean, like, yeah, like, there are movies where it's like, oh, we never see the monster, and okay, that kind of works, but I think that's one thing that makes that movie just.
That's one where you see the monster the whole entire time.
Yeah, exactly.
It is to me the most, because normally I agree with Polly. The less you see it, the better, because it leaves it to your imagination.
Right.
But somehow that movie does it.
Well, and it's like, yeah, how can it get worse kind of thing. So yeah.
Well, but you also don't really see it. You kind of do, but you don't really. You see the effects of it.
Yeah.
But you don't.
I think you see like a shadow of the actual demon, but that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
like
don't
you
know.
never see the.
I always think of Linda Blair as the monster of that.
Yeah, well, I mean, good gosh. Another movie that I just think is funny. John, did I see Drag Me to Hell with you?
Yes.
Okay.
We went to the theater and saw that, right?
Yes. The old gypsy lady that gnaws on your face.
Yes.
Okay, I just
It's
love
so
that.
gross, too.
I love that.
I was like, oh.
Yes.
Oh.
John is like gagging. His toenails like up, and like I'm giggling because it's terrible. She's like, it's like not even. It's just drooly. Like she's just old drooly gypsy lady. Like bites this girl, like gnaws on her face.
She's like dumping her.
Yes.
She's just like
Cracks me up.
puking in her mouth.
Yeah.
It's so gross.
Okay,
Molly.
sorry. That's just funny.
What if you saw a movie that matched your imagination and the creature, or the monster, the entity?
I feel like that's what Rec did.
Like,
Like,
Yeah.
with that creature walking around, that's what that one
Yeah.
is?
What Dead Bugs
Okay, that's
did.
cool.
I visualized that for months, years, and then I saw it like I have to watch this movie,
Huh.
and they did it right. Then this, if you ever played Dead Space, any Silent Hill, almost any horror game, something similar like this is within it. If it's not a little girl with a black hair, it's a black, red-eyed monster.
Mhm.
Generally speaking, decayed and deformed.
Yeah.
So it matches my imagination.
Yeah.
I guess that's why I took two.
One of
Yeah,
the-
yeah.
How would you feel if that happened?
Oh, I don't know. I feel like my imagination can go
Oh gosh.
Even worse.
way out there, man. Way
Yeah.
out there. And it, like, Darkness Falls, meh. I mean, I slept with my light on. That affected me.
Okay.
Because it's the fact that, like, things that hide in the dark you don't see clearly. And when you shine a light on them, they're not there anymore. So how in the world are you ever going to see what they actually look like, you know? And that concept frightens me. I totally just want to like sit in like full-on stadium lights all the time after watching Darkness Falls. So I feel like that actually explains pretty well, like my imagination like can run crazy wild with things that you can't see. Like there could be anything in the dark, anything.
I mean, I'm thoroughly convinced that there is absolutely nothing scarier in this world than our own imaginations. I mean, we can fill in the gaps for ourselves, and like, I mean, some people are genuinely afraid of the dark. We used to know a guy, played national football, 6'6", 300+ pounds, terrified of the dark.
Yeah.
Like, turn off the light, and he'd be like, "Oh, it's dark!" Oh, no, I'm like, you just punch something if it comes at you, but you'd be fine. But I mean, like, you gotta think, like, at what point did that become scary? Like, I'm gonna get a little like weird, psychological for a second here. Think about like our earliest ancestors. What made them scared of these things? Heights make sense because if you fall, you're probably gonna die or hurt yourself a lot. Storms might have meant like your house would have caught on fire or something. So I mean, it's natural that we would be afraid of these things. What happened that made us afraid of the dark? Like, is it just the fact that we don't know what's going on?
I think it's a straight up evolutionary pressure and the fact that
you can't see.
Let's say you're in the dark. The person who survived the most was the person who reacted out of fear quickest.
Right.
Because if you don't know what's happening, you hear something rustling in the dark, the person who reacts to protect themselves quicker is not getting eaten by the lion.
Right.
So I think that was the pressure that causes us to react
and be afraid. And what I'm kind of getting at is it seems like, if you kind of think about it now, it seems kind of irrational, but movies like that give you a reason to be afraid of the dark. Like, and that
and it also sets your imagination, like it lets it loose, and you can go 14 million places with it and drive yourself crazy.
Oh gosh,
It's that moment of when I flip on a light, what's going to be setting in this room with me, you know, or what's right, you know, because I guess you're less scared when you can't see it. You know, in terms of, I mean, you're scared of what could possibly be there, is what I'm saying. So it's that moment of, if I do flip on a light, what's going to be there?
Yeah.
Josh, what's the name of that video we were showing people where you flip on the light?
Oh, Lights Out.
Lights Out.
Yeah, it's like a whole 3-minute video.
And
that was pretty good. Every time she turns it on, like there's a silhouette. And
it wasn't a silhouette. It was the back of something. It was silhouette. It was the arm. It was the back. Then it was the face, and it shut off a lot.
Right.
And the quintessence of the film that plays on psychological fields, House on the Haunted Hill, with Vincent Price. He got his money, his vengeance, his dead wife, and a scapegoat because he played on the fear of how many people in that film? About 7. He just masterminded it.
Yeah.
And based on what all of you are trying to say, like what makes people scared of the dark, he did that. And even though it's a way old film, it's one of the best ever made.
And his voice is just
it's magnificent. Another aspect of paranormally type movies that kind of adds to the factor is whenever you have like a group of people that like are acting in a strange way because of something. I actually got Holly to watch an old classic. I don't know if you guys have seen this. It's kind of cheesy. Children of the Corn. It's actually a really good movie, and for those of you who haven't seen it, it's a story about this town in Nebraska where all the kids kill the adults, and like once they reach a certain age, they sacrifice themselves to this guy named He Who Walks Behind the Rose. So it kind of adds another, like, we don't know what this guy looks like. You never actually see him in the movie. Really cheesy effects that kind of portray him, but you gotta, like, why are these kids acting this way? Or like in any movie like that, why are these people acting this way? And it's because they believe, like, I think in that movie they're just kind of trying to appease him, basically.
Well, I think the point is that they were going through a corn famine.
Right, and it would bring it back and stuff.
If Isaac, the leader, like, talked with He Who Walks Behind the Rose, or He Who Must Not Be Named, or whatever.
Or Voldemort, yeah.
And he was like, hey, you turn 18, you're dead.
Yeah.
And so they kill all the adults in the town, including their parents and like everyone.
Yeah.
So and anyone who comes in to like to check it out. So then the corn grows and they're all is well.
Everybody's good. The creepiest part, there's two parts of that movie that I particularly think is creepy. It's really fresh in my mind because we just watched it. One is the kids like have a deal with this gas station owner guy who directs people into the town. So he's kind of like he gets them there so they can basically be sacrificed. The kids decide they don't want him anymore and they kill him. That part's pretty creepy. But the other creepiest part is they actually have a kid who is turning 19, and so he's preparing to sacrifice himself, and he's just like, come, like, I'm here, let's do this, like, your will be done kind of thing. And you see like this thing moving under the ground, but you never see what it looks like. And like all the kids are like just kind of anticipating, and then you hear this guy screaming, and you're like, and that's one of those like ultimate. You never see what it is, so your imagination runs just absolutely wild. Like,
I want to say they did show it in a photo in a church, and it was a dragon or something of that nature.
Yeah, something like that.
No, that was a little girl was drawing pictures. She just was drawing pictures.
Okay.
And that was beforehand.
Right.
Like, it wasn't even.
That.
Yeah. No, you're right. There is a picture of a dragon and a lady.
A series that really goes unspoken because of the remake, the Amityville Horror, the classic, really surreal movies.
I actually liked the remake
I did
quite
too.
a lot.
No one knows the originals because it's opened by The Shining, The Omen, The Exorcist, and Amityville does the remake. It was made so early, people were like, yeah. But this one, I mean, it did two things right. It brought the real idea of haunted house possession together, and it showed the first introduction of red eyes and a rodent in a ceiling and pulled it off as scary. And if you guys have seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. It's horrible. It's graphic-wise, but it's terrifying for its day and time. Yeah, that was good.
I think this particular genre, like, I don't know, I mean, like slasher movies we talked about, like, you can kind of laugh it off, like, like someone might go crazy and actually do that, but like, meh. But for whatever reason, it seems like paranormal is the things that would like be the least likely to happen. But why do those tend to resound with us the most?
I don't know. They're super effective with me, and I don't believe in ghosts. I'm not scared of anything like that. And I used to be scared of the dark when I did believe in ghosts. Now that I don't really believe that any of that supernatural stuff, I can walk through my house or anywhere in the dark just fine. It doesn't bother me.
Right.
But I still like those movies, and like I still get creeped out by those movies. I don't know why. When I'm done with them, it's done. But they do a good job of creeping me out while they're going